evening, Turks and Caicos. Hope you guys are well. My name is Genadio Howell, your host for this evening. Welcome you to This is WhatsApp 3.0. Happy that we're starting this again. Definitely need it. Starting off with a bang. So I'd like to also welcome our Honorable Premier, Honorable Charles Watson Mizik, come to speak with us this evening. It's been a great time. My first thing to you is, it's been 6 months now since we got into government, right? Great plan. What type of grade would you give the government? And why?
Well, this is our second consecutive term in government, and the public rightfully would expect a getting off the mark quicker than if we were starting at the very beginning. We ended the year with some major projects in the works, and so we have picked up where we left off from. We've also came with the party manifesto, which is the same theme of the last one, People's Contract 2.0 or whatever it's called. So I would say overall, given the continuum of the program that we have set out in the first term, and the new improved agenda, I think we've been following that. And in the first term we had major initiatives took over at a time coming out of the pandemic. We put in made some big policies to do with things like the credit union, the mortgage corporation, and some major big stones that we put in the jar. So we've been working to refine those, to implement those policies and projects that we started in the first term. So, I wouldn't be the best person to ask about the grading, but I think with our grade I would have to give. It'll be kind of conceited of me to give myself an A, but I would say we're not far from it. Certainly a B plus.
All right. We'll take a B. What would you say to those who may think that this government is taking a while to get some of these things going?
Well, I think, generally speaking, people are impatient, and I am as patient as they are, because I think if there is a feeling that things aren't happening fast enough, I don't know that I can fault people for feeling that way, because it's easy when you're outside looking in. Like it is said that you campaign in poetry and you govern in prose. Right? The wheels of government move very, very slowly. The bureaucracy, the processes that one has to go through, because you're dealing with public funds. There's a process to go through, and sometimes those processes are extremely frustrating even for me. Because at the end of the day, I'm a policymaker. I'm not an administrator, so I don't have control of those processes. And to the extent that I can change them, we've been trying to change them, but it's all a part of a continuum, and whatever we set out to do will get delivered.
Right.
It's just, unfortunately, man proposes and God disposes, you know.
That's true.
So,
Because I know you guys put in quite a bit of policies even from your last term. And I know in the manifesto we talked about even putting in even more and seeing some of these things come to fruition. I know it's only been 6 months, but you know, yeah, people do get uneasy.
well, it's people wouldn't see it as being 6 months because it's a continuation of the same government. But as I say, the beat goes on.
Yeah.
Process. We have some good things going on. This is a young country. I think we've done well. We've supported people at the time when the support was needed. The economy is growing. There are challenges, I know, because while the GDP is growing, the cost of living has been increasing. And so and things like housing is extremely, extremely expensive. We're trying to address those issues, but again, it's happening far slower than I would want it to happen, because again of the processes that one has to go through.
That's true, because if I remember, I know housing was a big part of what we kind of push forward to the people. And I know that is a big part of what we're doing, and we've been able to set up the department and everything of housing. Can you speak to how that's been going? I know there's a lot of processes in it, but I don't know if you can share anything on how that's going.
Well, I can speak very generally to the whole process of providing shelter,
Right.
because I say shelter because housing, that is what housing is.
Yeah.
Affordable housing and adequate housing combined make up shelter, because housing should be both affordable and adequate. It doesn't always mean ownership. So what we're focusing on putting people in shelter, but also trying to expand the ownership base for Turks and Caicos Islanders. A lot has happened. There's an RFP that is out at the moment, or is meant to be going out soon, to solicit from the private sector individuals who may be interested in providing proposals for housing development.
Right.
We have the Mortgage Corporation that we're actively trying to stand in place. We have identified, we've been working on sorting out the residential land issues, so that those persons who may have had residential conditional purchase leases and who haven't paid them can start over afresh.
Okay. That's great.
We're looking at what has happened in the past can't happen in the future in terms of the size of parcels of land, because it's not sustainable. So we're looking at building communities, giving people a key rather than a piece of dirt. They can still have the piece of dirt if they insist on having it, because that's their birthright. But we would rather them have a key. And so the kind of housing we're looking at would be just both sort of a horizontal and vertical. So it's moving at, I wouldn't say at pace,
Right.
but it's moving.
It's moving. All right. Well, I think that takes a bit of the ease off people, because I know that's one of the bigger issues that we have. Obviously, we won't be getting any more land. You know what
Well, when it starts, it will go fast.
I mean? So far.
People will have access to land, of course. We will have to open up subdivisions. Not everybody, particularly those persons who have good income,
Right.
may wish to have their own stamp on their designs and stuff like that.
That's agreed.
One of the biggest challenge, and I'm going to put it right out there now, that we face is a lot of people can qualify for housing based on the price points that we believe we can deliver affordable housing for. And those price points range from around the 200, maybe slightly below 200, 250, perhaps even 300, depending on, but it's somewhere between $200,000 and $300,000. A lot of people would qualify. The problem is a lot of people are heavily leveraged with existing debt
That is very
because a lot of people leverage their income by borrowing from unregulated microlenders, such as the payday loans and all that stuff. So some people, I was shocked to learn at the end of the month, particularly in the public service, are taking home next to nothing. Right? So even though they may be doing well enough to, based on the measurement of their revenue, of their income, when you strip away all of the debt that they have, they may not actually qualify, which is a huge, huge challenge for the government.
That is because, like you say, that is a big part of our population, like you say. And a lot of the people who would need that type of housing, need that type of shelter, is the people who have that those debts.
Yeah, I think anyone making $40,000 a year, or a household with $40,000 and up, could afford the mortgages or the funding that we hopefully could be available either directly or through facilitating and working with other institutions. But the problem is they're heavily leveraged because of lifestyle choices that people make. Because by and large, it's still a very consumer-oriented society. People don't think about tomorrow.
Yeah, well, as you know, we will have to, because at the end of the day, if you do want shelter, there are sacrifices that have to be made. But it's good that the government is taking that into consideration.
There's a lot of work has been done to try to identify how we're going to make this work for people, because at the end of the day, housing is one of the most expensive item in the basket of goods that a household consumes on a monthly basis.
Right. No, you're definitely correct. And as you say, in Turks and Caicos right now, we do have a housing crisis. So that is one of the big ticket items. And I'm actually pretty glad you guys are making a lot of progress on it, and we keep it moving. It would be remiss of me to keep moving without mentioning the wave of crime that's been going on recently. Not only over the weekend, but we had the fires before that, and there's been other issues. Is there any way you want to speak to that?
Well, let me first of all extend my condolences to families who have suffered the loss of loved ones as a result of criminal activity, that is murders, both over the weekend and the day and the earlier week. In the last, I suppose, within the last 7 to 10 days, we've had 5 persons who've lost their lives through violence, through murders. And so I want to express my deepest sympathy to those families who are, and particularly to the loss of young lives on a weekend night, enjoying their young lives, just to be senselessly snuffed out by persons who actually have no regard for law and order or for life. And so I empathize with the rest of our communities, because obviously the kind of violence that we've seen would strike fear in the hearts of some people,
Definitely.
quite rightly so. And so I want to empathize with that situation and appeal to persons not to cower in the face of the cowards that seek to bespoil our quiet and peace. But the truth of the matter is, the government is doing everything that is possible, and we will continue to invest heavily in making sure that our community is safe. I can go into some of the things that we are doing, and those things will include, we have identified a new, well, not a new, but we have identified property in Blue Hills to establish a police station in Blue Hills. There's a conversation going on about how do we modernize or change our policing model so as to make police officers safer, because they are human beings too, they have families. We have to be concerned about their safety while they protect us. We have a good relationship with our regional neighbors. We have the Jamaicans here at the moment, and we've had 10 Bajans who've now gone back. But, and I speak regularly to our friends up in the Bahamas. In fact, over the last, today and yesterday evening, I've had a number of regional leaders who've reached out to me expressing their solidarity with the government of the Turks and Caicos and pledging their support where needed, which is very heartening because, as you know, leadership, they're tough questions. They're never easy answers. And ultimately, the measure of leadership is where one stands in times of controversy and challenges, not in times of comfort and inconvenience.
Right,
so
right.
This is one of those times,
Those challenges now.
challenges and controversies
Right.
that we have to face. And in saying that, I'd like to pivot back to the incident
Okay.
on Saturday night. It's actually early Sunday morning.
Sunday morning, yeah.
Right?
Sunday morning.
And the comments that I made during the press conference on Sunday, that some people took issue with. And what I said, any leader would have expressed outrage against the senseless killing of innocent lives. I would be derelict in my duty if I didn't express what is a heartfelt outrage against what took place on the wee hours of Sunday morning, right? I was careful to say, well, it came naturally to say that I stand in support of all law-abiding citizens in this country, all law-abiding residents in this country, regardless to which nationality or sector of the economy or society they come from. Anyone who, as I said then and I say now, people want to be able to support, bring up their family in tranquility and peace. And anyone who is committed and focused on that, I stand behind them 100%. Okay? I did mention the Haitian community, and I am not backing down from that. I call on the leaders to engage with the government to bring some semblance of normalcy, or to engage to see how we can tackle the issues.
Right.
Because the statistics is clear. It's not something that I've made up, right? The statistics that is provided to me is that, including the murders on early Sunday morning, there's been 25 murders for the year, or 22 murders for the year. Out of those 22 murders, 21 of them had its origin in the Haitian community. That's the fact, right? That is not, okay? And it would be remiss of me if I didn't point that out for the benefit of the population, but for the benefit of those innocent people in those communities who have to lock themselves away at night, and some of them who've had to vacate their places that they live, right, in order to be safe. Okay, and so I call on the leadership in the Haitian community to engage with the government. I still am calling. No one has reached out yet, but today I sent an email this afternoon to the Haitian Heritage Association, because so it's not an issue of blame.
So
And I
you're
said
ready
that.
for open dialogue. On
Right.
this. Yeah.
It's not an issue of blame. I'm not blaming
Right.
the community. I'm just saying this is what has happened in your community. And you need to take control of it and hold, in the same way that the Turks and Caicos hold me accountable as the leader of this country for the good order, and I have an obligation to hold our disparate communities responsible. We have people of all nationality here, that is true, right? And so I think anyone who took offense to what I had to say must have other issues that are other reasons for being dissatisfied, and they saw this as an opportunity to speak out, or because the tape is very clear. It's very, very clear what I had to say. It was never meant to offend anyone. It was meant to appeal for us to come together to resolve these hard issues that we face, right? So will not apologize for anything, because I didn't say anything that any normal, reasonable person would not understand, particularly at a time as we face now.
No, yeah.
So that's really where we are, and that's unfortunate. That
Yeah, no, it is.
my genuine concern and my expression of outrage and my appeal to the community would be taken out of context.
Okay. So it really is, you're open to dialogue with the Haitian, the diaspora.
I think we have to be. I have to be open to dialogue. We all live here,
Yes.
regardless of how we got here. Some of us are born here. Some of us have been naturalized. I also would like to say, while I'm at it, that I'm also aware that there's a significant level of immigration fraud that is taking place. And a lot of people in this country have fraudulent documents. And I am sorry for them, because at some stage, when we digitalize these things and when we search into when we're setting up when we are setting up digital databases and stuff, these people will be found out. And a lot of these documents at that time, they may find that they could be prosecuted. So I am appealing to those persons who are involved, both officials and recipients, or because it takes two to corrupt the system.
It does.
It takes the bureaucrat, but it also takes the person who is influencing the bureaucrat to do the wrong thing for money. And so I believe there will be a reckoning day.
Yeah.
And that day is coming and coming soon. So I would appeal to everyone who's involved in any kind of wrongdoing and any kind of fraudulent activity as regards to immigration and all of that stuff is to cut it out, because a reckoning will come and you will be found, if you're found on the wrong side of the law, then you'll have to suffer the consequences.
For that. You're right about that. You're right about that.
No.
But also when you're speaking,
I'll go back to the housing part, because when I started out, I said there's adequate housing and there are affordable housing.
right,
There's ownership, and there is, whether it's rental or otherwise, everyone who has a legitimate right to be in the country has a right to a decent place to live.
right,
Now, we've had a meeting today with the large employees of the TCI, of Turks and Caicos Islands, and we've made it very, very clear that the immigration, the employment ordinance require employers to provide housing for their employees, okay? And we've made it very clear that going forward, work permits will be issued on the basis of clear evidence that that particular policy is adhered to. In other words, before a work permit could be issued, the government is going to have to be satisfied that the employee has is being provided with a place, an adequate place to live. Now, I also know that not everyone comes in legally,
right,
but the onus will be more, focus will be placed, or equally will be placed on employers for hiring people
right,
illegally, right? And so, but in trying to deal with the housing issue, we have agreed today in a meeting with the private sector, large employers, to form a working group
okay,
to look at how we can attack the housing crisis that we have in Turks and Caicos, both for locals, belongers, or status holders, BOTC, permanent residency, and for work permit holders. There'll be different types of housing, clearly. Some will be ownership, some will be otherwise, but we need to, whether you're coming from Bahamas or whether you're coming from Middle Caicos
right,
or Grand Turk, right? The housing, there must be equity in housing, and everyone has to be treated equally, because whether you're coming internally from somewhere else to a new destination, you still have the same demand for housing, right?
right,
And so these are issues that we are now grappling with to make sure housing is provided.
okay,
Now, a lot of construction is taking place. I see a lot of apartments being built, a lot of rental properties being built. But we also made it very clear in our meeting that if you are given permission to build staff housing, that is for your staff
right,
and not for rent.
right,
Because some people have been able to procure planning permission for staff housing and is renting that
renting that
and renting it.
private,
So the level of greed
yeah,
in the community generally has to be tempered, because at the end of the day, if we're going to develop inclusive growth and equity, then everyone has to be treated with respect, and everyone has to have a stake, in the process.
Well, you spoke about greed. I mean, that is one of the hot topics on the island right now. Is obviously the cost of rent and the cost of living, and I'm guessing that's one of the items that the government, the Saudi government, is going to attack with public-private partnerships and areas like that. Or
Yeah, well, as it relates to the cost of living, as I said earlier, the housing is probably one of the greatest,
yes,
right? And so one of the ways we will be doing that is leveraging our crown land so that Turks and Caicos Islanders, status holders, can get maximum leverage, maximum benefit from that. We're in contact with the United Kingdom government because at the moment the policy allows for a 50% discount
okay,
to a status holder on crown land, right? But given the price of land, that doesn't bring it low enough to make it affordable. So we're reached out to the UK government, who has a say in how crown land is managed, to see whether to look at how we can make an adjustment to the policy to make it more affordable.
okay,
But also, we have to take some action in terms of the cost of land here, which is being artificially pushed up, be out the reach of locals because of the sort of a foreign demand. So we have to obviously look at a threshold below which a foreign buyer will not be able to purchase, because we have to control and we have to make sure land is available at affordable prices for your generation
right.
and the generation to come.
Because that's one of the, like I said, that's one of the hot topics. Because a lot of the people in my generation and those coming up afterwards, they feel like they're being bought out of the land market, that they won't even have a place to, really set themselves up like our forefathers did. So it's actually pretty good to hear that you guys have that in mind already for us going forward.
Yeah. Well, a lot of places in the world, people are landless proletariat and they don't even know it,
Very true.
right?
Yeah.
And we don't want that to happen to our people.
No.
We want to make sure that everyone has a stake. And
There's
so
a stake in this, right?
the way things have gone in the past can't continue. And so we have to make sure that there is affordability in the process.
Okay.
It's not the survival of the fittest. It shouldn't be just the survival of the fittest, which means not even physically fittest, but the ones who have the thickest wallet.
Right.
It can't be that. It can't be just about the money.
No.
It has to be about the social order, and that's what
And it has to be something there for Turks and Caicos Islanders.
exactly. Everyone deserves an adequate place to live, whether you can afford it or not. And so that's what
That's what you push.
some people will be able to afford it, and some people will not. Those who can't afford it, the indigents and people below a certain income level or poverty level, the government is going to have to provide housing for them, either subsidized or otherwise. It's just the reality. We can't have a society like some of the other, even first world countries,
Right.
that are very wealthy, but you still have people sleeping on the streets.
True. That's very true, though. You're right. And since we started to speak about, I mentioned about youth earlier, just now, just a quick one. What would you say to the youth, the ones who live in abroad, who feel like right now there isn't a place for them at home. Like they've been, they went to school, they come back, there isn't anything for them to do, so they want to stay away. I always feel like, you should come home, make it grassroots, and, help build this country. But I know a lot of those who are in my age group and older, younger than me, they see it a little bit different. What would you say to them?
Well, first of all, I would say that I would like to congratulate people like yourself
Thank you.
who have gone away, studied, become successful in the academic career, studies, and have come back home to work. And for all appearances, you seem to be doing fairly well,
Trying.
right? You work in an area which is booming, construction, and I know there are some of our young people who would have done programs which they may find it hard to be able to transport here because of the level of development or the kind of economy we have. We have a service tourism-oriented economy. Not everyone is best place to work there. You've got
Right.
people who studied different scientific pursuits, which they may find it very difficult to find here, but that's a choice they make. And so that may mean in order to work at their trade, they may have to live somewhere else. And then you have other young people who may make a choice to work abroad or stay abroad for a number of years, which is not a bad thing.
No.
They can then bring that experience and expertise here. And then you have some young people who would have gone into universities or study abroad and met partners there, and they may be able to made a decision to stay where they are or move somewhere else.
Right.
And then you've got other young people who doesn't fit any of that, but who may or may not come back. There's some who there's some people who have gone abroad and studied, and they may have a postgraduate qualification, and because of that, they feel like they should come back and go to become the CEO or the boss, when you have no experience.
Very true.
You have a degree, right, or two, and so it would behove that person to start somewhere, right, and demonstrate their skill set, their abilities, and their commitment to the craft, to the job, and you will find that promotion becomes a lot easier.
You're right.
And so, and also the education, the government itself have to stick to its policy in providing scholarships that fits the economy, right? Because there's no point in giving someone a scholarship to become a nuclear physicist when there's actually
You don't have it.
nowhere for them to work in that field here. They'll come and pump gasoline or something.
No, I understand.
That would be a waste of funding.
So that goes into my next question. Like, what would you say your government is doing to ensure that we have these opportunities, so the young people coming up have these opportunities?
Well,
to make something of themselves,
I think there is the apprenticeship program, and what's the other one? Anyway, there are programs that cater to young people working during the summer months, and also attachment that would last even up to a year. There are a number of cases where people have started as an apprentice and end up with full-time employment. In other words, I'm going to say this because Einstein is sometimes cited as one of the smartest people in the world, said the only way to learn is through apprenticeship,
Right.
right? I'm sure as someone who's gone to school and studied, you've probably learned more on the job in the last few
By
years
far.
than you've learned reading any book,
By far. Not even close.
you know?
Not even close, yeah.
So I would suggest to the young people that start somewhere, come back home and start somewhere.
Right.
But only come back if you can get experience for a couple of years somewhere else. I would take it because this is a young country, right? And depending on what you study, you will have to depend on yourself
Right.
to pull yourself
Build
up.
yourself up, yeah, no.
But if you're in an environment where you have professionals all around you, or people who you could skill up very fast by leveraging your knowledge against their expertise or their experience. So I wouldn't discourage young people from staying away for a few years beyond their academic training. But ultimately, I would wish for them to come back.
Come back, yes.
Because
We do need the expertise.
right. I mean, I have kids who live abroad, okay, and who are very educated.
Right.
And when I look at some of the young people here, they're doing far better than my kids are. But they may not have the same level of social life,
Right.
right? But they're better off. The quality of life may even be better,
Right.
right? So I think young people have a choice. They can opt for the limelight and the quality of life, or the social life, or they can come here. Now, in some cases, young people have left very young, and so they're more comfortable where they are.
Very true.
And coming back to adjust will take some adjustment for them to come back. But other people who have no roots here, no relationship, come here
And settle and grow.
and settle in and make it.
Yeah, no, they definitely do.
If you have to ride a bicycle or a motorbike or walk to work for a couple of months, or do what you got to do to get your feet in and get grounded.
Definitely,
I
definitely.
mean, I remember when I started out, you know. See, I remember sleeping on my stomach because I was too hungry to sleep on my back.
Look at that. Look at that. And you're here now, so I mean,
You know,
proof is in the
exactly.
pudding, right?
Yeah.
Proof is in the pudding. Definitely, definitely. Is there anything, you say infrastructure-wise, that you can see coming up that the government is pushing for, that the country can look forward to seeing?
Yes,
Would you
yes.
like to speak on that?
Well, as you know, we're undertaking a major expansion to ports and airports. Okay, I don't want to say a lot about the Providenciales International Airport at the moment, except to say that sometime in the next, by the end of the summer, and by that I mean by sometime during August or September, it'll be very clear which direction we will be taking. But there will be activity on the project, the airport project,
Okay.
one way or another,
Okay.
one form or another,
Good, good. Good.
certainly by the fourth quarter.
Because I'm sure you agree with me, and we do have to, and I mean, make out the experience of the traveler a bit better than it is right now.
I think there's absolutely no question that the
Yeah,
situation that stands at the moment is not ideal,
right.
and we run the risk of degrading the experience of the people who are going through the existing terminal facility,
Right, right,
both belongers and our visitors.
right.
And that's not lost on the government. And the most I can say now is that when something happens, it'll happen fast, and we will be able to arrest some of the less than ideal
Okay,
situation as it stands at the moment.
okay.
But we live in a world where one has to be agile,
Yeah.
and we're constantly looking at the situation.
Okay. That's good to know. When we brought up visitors, so I just want to pivot back just a little bit. There was there was a CNN article about what happened over the weekend. Obviously, you know what I mean. It's worldwide, and you know, they're calling it a mass shooting, for lack of a better term. Are you being? The question is, are you being proactive for any international? I don't know of any international fallout or anything. I don't know if.
Thanks, thanks for the question. Because what we've done today is, of course, we have a crisis communication consultant in Washington
Okay.
that we use on occasions such as this, and we have engaged with them.
Okay.
And so they are working, following the media in the United States. There's been this matter on Sunday morning has been mentioned on CNN,
Yes.
on Fox. It'll probably be picked up by NBC and ABC,
BBC and the rest.
everybody else.
Yep.
So our crisis consultant is working to try to mitigate the level of risk, the exposure, but also, and critically, the deputy governor and myself and our team members engage with the U.S. Embassy in the Bahamas,
Okay.
who we happen to have a good relationship with, to put the incident in context. We now have a travel rating by the U.S. of level 2, and we're hoping that we will be able to retain that level 2,
Level 2.
that level 2 strat level.
Yeah.
So we took the proactive step of speaking to the embassy or the high committee up in the Bahamas
Okay.
to sensitize them as to what is
Right.
happening here.
So they
Put
get
things in context. So when they look at
right.
when they're considering the warning or their TCI, they will know the context.
The context of what happened.
So we're hoping.
Yeah. Because that was my other question. If you had gotten any feedback from.
No, we haven't gotten any feedback, and we don't know what the U.S. will say or do.
Right. True.
But that's why we're proactive in trying to provide the context for the situation. So, and also, as I said earlier, I was on the phone this afternoon to our crisis management consultant in the U.S. So we're trying to manage the potential fallout
Right.
and the damage to our global reputation.
Right.
You know,
Obviously, you know, as our finance and, you know, tourism is our biggest industry. So we definitely appreciate, you know, the being proactive on the international front, because that definitely affects all of us, left and right. I think it took a lot of your time this evening. You understand?
yeah, well, that's why I'm here, man.
I know. I know, and I'm happy that you're here. I'm happy you're here to have the conversation. We're going to have a lot more of these conversations coming up. This is the first of many, and it's a great time to have you, sir. Appreciate you, Turks and Caicos Islands. I'm here. This is What's Up 3.0. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you. You've been a very gracious host for your first. This is your first show?
Yeah, first show.
Yeah, not too bad for. You may have a second career.
Don't flatter me, man. Don't do that.
It's been a real pleasure, and I would, I want to be very open and express my deepest appreciation for the confidence that Turks and Caicos has placed in me As I said earlier, leadership doesn't come with easy answers. Turks and Caicos has some tough decisions it has to make, because while we have a booming economy, we need to consolidate, and whether we draw the line now, hold back a little, consolidate what we have, these are decisions that we are going to have to make, because growth has its limits. Sustainability is what is important. And so we want to grow at a pace where everyone could grow along with it. And what has been happening in the last several years, and the growth is galloping at such a way, state that it's been hard to wrap your arms around it,
Right.
have adequate control. So there are going to be some big decisions this government has to make.
Right.
Some big decisions in the interest of social order, in the interest of economic sustainability and inclusive growth.
Right.
Because we don't want to have a society, sort of a one side is really prospering and the other side is perishing. So we have to find a balance so that we have a platform of all inclusivity.
And it's great that your government is working towards that, especially how you use the words of sustainability. Obviously, we know things don't keep growing up. Eventually, everything plateaus and all that. So we do need to have some control over this growth and be able to mitigate and see where we're going forward. You guys do have a plan, I guess, for the next 5-10 years or whatever.
Yeah,
So
well,
we'll go
the
forward.
party manifesto speaks about inclusive growth. We have institutions we have to build, because basically strong institutions, rule of law, is really what sustains the country and its sustainability. We have, for example, in 2023, maybe it was 24, finished the sustainability capacity carrying study for the islands that we have to now implement. We have to be concerned about wastewater. That's part of the problem we have with shanty towns or informal settlements, stuff that's seeping into the aquifer. So all this environmental, social, and economic, it's a big job.
Oh, it is. It definitely is.
I
And
want to appeal to our young people here and abroad. Look at the opportunities. The opportunities in the social and economic space.
and that's one of the reasons why I asked about the opportunities. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because-
the opportunities are there. I mean, they're being taken up slowly, but a lot of government projects and things are being held up because of skills,
right.
right? Because of skills. I mean, even at the top, high level, there's a skill gap, a serious skills gap, right?
When you say that, do you think, this is a question that's been on my mind, do you think that the country has grown faster than its people? Or at least when you talk about it, there's a skill gap now?
I don't know if I think that. I know that.
Yeah.
What has happened is that we've grown so fast in the last 50 years,
Yeah.
particularly in the last 25 or so years, or even the last 15 years. We've grown so fast that it's been hard for the social development of people to keep up with the economic development. And so that's why we have to slow things down a bit. Right? Because the speed at which we're galloping, the frothiness of the economy is something that we have to be concerned about, because can't have a situation where people come, they discover, they exploit, and then decline happens, and then the people in the country are left to manage that decline.
And they leave.
So we have to do it now, put the measures in place to ensure that sustainability and resilience is embedded in our DNA, our decision-making DNA.
Can you speak to any of those like sustainability ideas that you guys have, or anything you're going to implement? Probably just one of them.
Well, basically, if you look at as I mentioned earlier, the carrying capacities
Right.
study that we undertake recently. Okay. And if you look at what is happening with roads, look at the Grace Bay. I mean, not the Grace Bay. The Leeward Highway.
Yep.
Okay. And if you look at the ability to drive down or up Leeward Highway in the mornings or in the evenings, or for that matter, if you give some consideration to the ability for ambulance and police and all of those things to really get through traffic, and
Right.
these are concerns, the sustainability issues that we have, and so building parallel roads is one of these issues that we have to face. Looking at this wastewater disposable system that we have, and just basically looking at the pressure in one particular area, let's say the Grace Bay area.
Right.
We're developing seven levels, 12 levels. We have to think in terms of fire suppression, equipment like how do we upgrade or upscale the domestic firefighting capacity.
Right.
These are all issues, sustainability issues, that we may have to slow down the economy in order to catch up.
You're right, because
And
like
then
right now,
this means that we're going to have to be demanding more from investors, more from the hoteliers.
right,
We have to raise additional revenue in order to pay for all of these things. Nothing
very
comes
true.
free.
Nothing
So
comes free, yeah.
at the end of the day, the question is whether the cost is more than the benefit.
Right.
And that's the question
That's the
we
question right
we
now.
have to answer.
Yes.
You know?
So, I mean, the only way to answer that, I mean, if we have that plan and we know where we're going, we can see our roadmap.
Let's take, for example, one of the things we need to put in place and are working on putting in place is a monitoring and evaluation specialist.
Right.
I know we have something in Invest TCI, a post called aftercare. Aftercare. But I think there need to be a more sophisticated system. Say, for example, who is to say that the concessions we're giving to developers aren't being abused?
Who is to say?
Right? Who's to say that extra material isn't being imported to build villas and private homes?
Very true.
Right? That's very
True.
possible.
No, you're right. You're right.
These are some of the things we're looking at. You know,
No, and we need to, because
and so
it will be exploited if it can be.
Doesn't matter the color of your skin. It doesn't matter how. If you cheating the government, when we find out, we put the systems in place. 'Cause when we find out, you're going to pay.
Hey. I hope they're listening out there. 'Cause I know they are. You know what I mean? But that is very good to know, because obviously all of us in Turks Caicos, we see all the growth. We see all the, obviously, I'm in construction. So I see all the construction. We see everything is happening. And we just want to make sure that our people, Turks Caicos Islanders, do have a piece of that pie and is growing with all of this. You know, because we, like I say, we don't want to be left behind.
When I drive down that way and I see all the construction and I look at government revenue, you have to be a moron not to know that the government is being cheated.
Exactly. Exactly. So I'm glad you guys are putting in systems. I'm glad you guys are thinking about all of these things, because it is helping us go towards a better Turks Caicos Islands.
Yeah.
And it's better for our people. So I do appreciate that. I appreciate you.
All right, thanks, man.
All right.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you, man. Appreciate
Yeah.
you coming on.
Nice to be in
That's
the
the
oil.
Turks and Caicos. Appreciate you guys for listening. And until next time, this is What's Up 3.0. Genadio Howell. Have a good night.